So now I'm going to show you how to incorporate the kirsch into the cake and how to prepare the final layer, a light chocolate mousse, which will vary the range of textures even more. This next stage uses the same base to make both the kirsch cream and the chocolate mousse. In here, I've combined egg yolks and sugar in exactly the same way that I did for the flourless chocolate sponge. Pour some hot milk over the mix and stir. As soon as that's mixed together, pop it back into the pan. Now cook this over a low to medium heat. What we're doing here is we're actually making a custard. You need to stir continuously. It doesn't take very long, 5 to 10 minutes. Now, if you have got a thermometer, cook this to 82 degrees. The custard is ready when, if you coat the back of a wooden spoon with it and just run your finger along the back. And if that line there stays apart, it's ready. Okay, at this point, we need to cool this custard down to stop it from cooking any further. The easiest way to do that is just to pop it in a bowl of ice water. Next, I need to add some gelatine. It comes like this, but before we can use it, we need to soften it. So I've got it in a bowl of cold water. 5 to 10 minutes will do the trick. Add that to the warm custard and stir until the gelatine dissolves. Next, whip the cream so it's just about pourable. Incorporate this into the custard with the gelatine. And finally, the kirsch. Oh, that takes me straight back to the Black Forest. That's incredible. So that's ready. Pouring it into a baking tin, exactly the same size that we used for all the other layers, and just pop it in the fridge to set. Now for the chocolate mousse, it's exactly the same as this, but I'm replacing the kirsch with some chocolate. One other ingredient for the chocolate mousse, salt. This might seem a little strange adding salt to chocolate, but salt has the ability to make bitter foods seem sweeter. And now to the final assembly of the Black Forest Gateau. I'm starting at the base with a crunchy biscuit layer, which I'm coating with some apricot compote I've made. But it's pretty easy to find this stuff in the shops. Now that compote is going to help stick together with the next layer, aerated chocolate. You see all those bubbles? Now a layer of this, chocolate ganache. Very rich, dense chocolate mousse. Very simple to make. Warm some cream, butter and chocolate together until melted. Popped it into a piping bag and leave it in the fridge just to firm up a bit. We don't want it to get hard. Now, sour cherries. These are fantastic. They've got a wonderful balance of acidity and sweetness. Next, the flourless chocolate sponge. Now, I'm just going to brush this with the syrup so it all soaks into the sponge, makes it really moist. I'm using a mixture of the juice from the sour cherries and some kirsch. Now, because this has got no flour in it, soak it right at the last minute. This is very delicate, so I'm going to use a palette knife. Next, the kirsch cream. Place this on some parchment paper because it makes it easier to lay it on top of the cake. Finally, the chocolate mousse. Press down lightly. Now, at this point, some of these layers are still quite soft, and we need to trim the cake up. So to make that easier, I'm going to firm it up by putting it in the freezer. So once it's frozen, it needs to be trimmed up so it looks like this. Now you'll notice I've made some holes in the top. I'm using a melon baller. Push the melon baller down onto the mousse and then just carefully lift the mousse out. Now we've built the foundation of our Black Forest Gateau, we need to store it in the freezer until the next stage. Those DIY tools prove useful in more ways than one. They led me to using this, a paint gun, which when filled with melted chocolate and groundnut oil can be used to create a suede-like finish to the gateau. It is important that the gateau is properly frozen before spraying, and after spraying, return the gateau to the freezer to set the chocolate. Just before serving, make a small hole in the indentations, then pour in a little of the syrup from the cherries. So when you cut into this cake, that juice is going to run all the way down the side and be fantastic. To make the cherries look more authentic, I've taken some vanilla pods, cut them in half, tied a knot in the end and dried them. Pop them into the hole at the top of each cherry. Right, for the last two touches, it will really turn this into a special Black Forest Gateau. There's this edible wood. It's in fact the base from the gateau, baked, and then using a little paste made with cocoa powder and water and a rubber paint effects tool, making a mark, this pattern on the side, so it looks like wood. What I'm really proud about this cake is it encompasses everything that's great about Black Forest Gateau. The origin in the Black Forest, my positive childhood memories, but most importantly, when you close your eyes and you put a spoonful of this in your mouth, it can't be anything else. It's Black Forest Gateau.